So moving on from there, what we can check is the whole carriage itself. So with this, without the springs on there, we can see that the carriage is running smoothly as it should, and then you can check for tracking, any wear, any noises might be coming from it. You might want to clean off the rail on the reformer as well. So with this, if you have like a wet rag or something like that, what you'll do is the rail here that the carriage wheel actually runs on, you can then just wipe this down as you need to, and it will wipe off any dirt and dust. This has actually just been run through water and then wrung out, so it's not dripping wet, but it's still wet there. And then move the carriage all the way to the front of the reformer, and then you can do this main back area here on both sides. This is a good point just to show you. I might show you a bit later in the video, but these stickers here, if these stickers are wearing off, we do have replacement stickers as well, so we can replace them. So sometimes if they get a bit too wet or you're wiping it too much, that they tend to peel up, that we can have them replaced as well. So cleaning off the rail that the wheels run on, and also the bumper wheels rub on the side rails here, so you just want to clean up them as well on the actual sides as well as the bottom, just to make sure they're nice and clean. And that will then help deter any noises you might get from the wheels, and any bumping you might feel. It'll smooth it out. You might have, you know, a couple of clumps of hair or something in there, or dirt and dust, and that will clean that off and help with the noise there. The next thing to look at is the ropes and the riser pulleys, and also the double loop handles. So from here we can check these double loop handles. These double loop handles will wear on the inside edge here, where people would normally hold. So you want to check the inside of both of these double loop handles and check that they're not just worn out, or there's any cuts or fraying, or the materials coming apart. There's the same carabiner clip we had down below, so you might want to check that. This one's actually finger loose as well, but you just want to check these are firm and tight, and then you might put your flathead screwdriver through there, or Allen key, and then lock it up firm there as well. With the ropes here, you might just want to check the ropes themselves. I'll just put one spring on, so I've got some resistance with it. The first metre or so of the rope should be all as good as new and no issues with it. And then usually the second metre of the rope might have some wear and tear on it. So you might want to look closely. If you come in and have a look at this rope, you might want to have a look if there's any little furry bits or fraying coming off the rope itself. You can have a good look and see if that's wearing away. This one here is actually quite new, so this is not showing any wear. But you'll find if you have any little tiny tassels or sort of, you know, hair-looking fibres coming off it, you can either just it's showing you that the rope is wearing. So we might need to either replace the rope, or what you can do is you can get a lighter and just singe off the furry bits of the rope, and it may just make it a little bit more presentable there as well. So that's to do with the actual rope itself and the double loop handles. The next thing we want to look at is the actual riser pulley itself. The riser pulley itself has got a bolt that goes through here with a pivot point nylon ball joint here, and it's got a 10mm nut on the inside here with a 4mm Allen key here. So you just want to tighten them up, make sure they're firm. To take the riser pulley off, let's grab some tools. And a wet rag as well. So with these riser pulleys, we might have between the gap between the outer metal framework here and the riser pulley, you might find this sort of dirt and dust particles within that gap there. Or also there might be hair that's got in there, whatnot, or fibres from the rope itself. So what we want to do is take this pulley off, and we can check that. So if we get your two 5mm Allen keys, for this one you do actually need two 5mm Allen keys because you've got one bolt head on either side. And then we want to loosen this off. Take it all the way so it's loose. Then what we want to do is just undo the last little bit so you know it's finger loose, and we can take it off. What I'll do is I'll pivot this round sideways, and then I can take the top bolt off and then I can take the bottom bolt off, and what happens there is it won't lose the spring, the washers that are in between the pulley and the outer edge of the riser as well. So if I take these off, sometimes these washers, they'll come out, or sometimes they'll stay in there. In this case they've stayed in there because we have just recently lubricated this pulley, but you can see on the inside here, if I take it off, the washer will come off. This is just like a nylon plastic washer. It's a good way to do that. If you put a bit of oil on it or even grease, the washer will stick to the pulley, so you know it won't come off, and when you put it back on, it'll stay on there. So you've got one washer at the top, one washer at the bottom. So what we have to do here is we have to clean this off. So this might be all dusty and dirty or whatnot. Just wipe that clean on both sides. In this case, we're just wiping off that oil we put on there. What we might also be able to do with your 5mm Allen key and your slightly damp cloth as well is put it over your Allen key and put it through the hole to clean out the dirt and dust that may be within the hole and the hair fibres or rope fibres that might be in there as well. Do that from both sides, clear that out, make sure it's clean. The bolt here itself should be about just slightly larger than the hole itself. It shouldn't be very, very loose. If you find the bolt is going into this hole and the bolt is quite loose, even looser than this is, then you should need to replace this riser pulley. So you just do some cleaning on these pulleys here, just to get all the dirt and dust off there. And again, you might, if you have to, put your rag over your Allen key and put it through to clean out inside. Clean off your two nylon washers. These should be nylon washers, not metal washers. Make sure they're nice and clean. And then to put it back on, the best thing to do is just to put one washer on top of the pulley directly over the hole so it's in line. Then what we can do is have the bracket horizontal again, and then rest the pulley on the bottom of the bracket, on the bottom side, so the top side has got room for the washer to slide in, and then the washer's still in line with the hole. Then I've been able to hold the pulley down on the bracket, and then you can slide that through the washer and then through the pulley. Put your finger on top of this bolt, flip it upside down, so then this pulley is now resting on the bottom bracket down here, and we have a bit of an air gap through the top here as well. Then what we can do is feed this pulley, the washer, the nylon washer, in between the pulley and the riser. And we can give it a couple of taps. Oh, that one I lost it. Just put it in through the side there. Give it a couple of taps and see how it's come across the hole. You can still see it there, but there's still a bit there. So you might be able to tap it a little bit more. And you can see it's coming across the hole now. You can get your Allen key and then center that up with the hole. So you know that that's all in place. And then it's tight. And then you can get your nut, your other part of the bolt, put that together, do a couple of turns to make sure the washers won't fall out, and then get your two 5mm Allen keys, tighten it up again. And then this here, you just want to firm it up, you don't want to have it too tight. Make sure the wheel can spin. This wheel's got a little bit of friction actually, so I might just back it off a little bit. So I can feel the wheel and I know it's running smoothly. Then what we can do is loop the rope back through the hole in the back of the pulley. And then with this here, we want to go down through the top of this mounting point, through the top of the carriage. Pull that lever out to unclip it, and then the rope will fall down through the bottom, and then we can pull it through. Double loop handle, just hook on the handlebars, and we can pull that through until it's firm again. And then we know that pulley's right, and we've So we basically service that riser pulley joint. What we can do here, since we put it back together, being dry like with your wet rag, is now we need to apply a bit of oil. You can use some 3-in-1 oil or silicone oil. This is the particular applicator I have here with a fine tip on it. So you can see here, I'll just drip a couple of drips in through the gap there, and you can sort of push the pulley to one side to open up the gap a bit, and then just apply a couple of drops in between the pulley there, and then you'll find that'll work in over time. So you might do that at actually the start of a day, the lubrication side, or maybe even the riser pulley. So as people use it, or before a class, as people use it, they'll work in that oil that we just applied, they'll work in as they're physically using it. And then maybe just wipe the riser clean with oil, just to make sure you get it off. So that's basically how we would service and clean the riser pulleys themselves. We can just pull it off and maintain that. Depending on how much you use the reformers, you might want to do it even monthly or bi-monthly, something like that, depending on how much you're using it. As you feel you need to, we can clean those riser pulleys.